Hey everyone, it's a daily dose with Dr. Drew.
And Shauna says she's getting used to these daily doses. Shauna, so am I, and I think we'd miss them if we didn't do them. And sometimes we will miss them because we travel a bit or we have to do stuff. And Miss Producer, I think we will do that on Periscope.
When are we going to travel?
On Periscope, we will do that if we are when we're. Ooh,
Go doggies. Oh, that
Dogs.
was close.
dogs.
We just lost camera 3 over there. The dog posse. Somebody's at the front
Fantastic.
door.
All right. In any event, guys, hello. I appreciate you joining me here on these daily doses. I can see you on Facebook, Periscope, Mixer, anywhere you can stream.
YouTube.
I can see you, or you can see me, and then I can see your streams here of comments. This is where you can ask me your questions. On Sundays, of course, we do the live call-in show, and you can sign up for that at drdrew.tv. And everything really is at drdrew.com. Don't forget After Dark.
This week we have Leon Tweeden as your guest from KBC.
Coming on Sunday.
Yeah, we're doing
and
a live
Susan
show.
wants me to remind me to point out the Merch Method /Tom Segura. Merchmethod.com /Tom
Get your
Segura.
T-shirts.
Yeah. All right. Now let's get you guys. Who would I like to work with that I haven't met? I'm intrigued by Jane Fonda these days and Arnold Schwarzenegger. Those are people I'd like to interview and talk to. I think they'd be very, particularly Jane, I'm very interested in these days.
We've been trying forever.
I know. PTSD and triggers. Miami, you need to be a little bit more clear, specific with me about what you're thinking. And thank you. Oh, these names. Zebra? Can someone be driven into psychosis by actions from others? Well, that's a really interesting question. You can't really create a psychotic illness from relationships per se. I mean, at least the normal conduct of adult relationships. But if you have a tendency to psychosis, people can't upset you enough for sure to throw you into a psychotic episode. So that's kind of how that works. Otherwise, it is really medication or substances that are the big culprit that really drive you into stuff. Do humans have conditioned responses like dogs do? In some areas and some things, sure. We are biological agents, and we have some conditioning responses.
Sorry about the dogs.
Do I believe Suboxone is an effective detox tool off opiates? Well, it's not. What I believe is not an issue. The question, when you're dealing in science, it's what is the evidence that? And there is good evidence that Suboxone is very effective as a detox medication, also effective as a maintenance medication. The question always, though, is exactly what's the right medication for a given case. If I developed opiate addiction, I would want to go for a cold turkey abstinence-based program. At least I think I would, because I would like to return to a fully flourishing life, and I'm very familiar with that process. Okay. Miami says, I've been finding things that happen lately in my personal life to be triggering my PTSD. Well, that makes good sense. I mean, PTSD is essentially a state of severe chronic arousal coming from trauma. Oftentimes, a really sort of characteristic way it develops is you have a childhood trauma, and then you have another trauma in your adult life, and then the PTSD really kicks off. And what PTSD essentially is, the way to think about it, is as, let's say you're in a car accident. Well, your body remembers that car accident and stays in that state of fight or flight or alarm chronically, as though the trauma was happening every minute of every day. And so naturally enough, things can exacerbate that, as you're saying. All right. Why swap medicine for medicine? Well, you have to take something to do with a heroin withdrawal. It's very difficult to do cold turkey. And so cross-tolerant medication that would suppress the withdrawal syndrome. Now, I agree with you in principle. Giving somebody Suboxone as a chronic treatment for opiate addiction is a concern of mine. Though for some people, that's the only way they're going to get well. And so you have to realize that. Theo Vaughn on After Dark, we were trying to get him. I think we have him. Waking the Tiger, Raphael, is a very good book about trauma. I recommend it as well. We love Theo. We'd happily get him on After Dark. I think we have him scheduled.
You do?
I think we do. I think they were trying, I believe.
He was not free for 3 months or something.
Constance,
so
bonsoir.
He's so funny.
What are my thoughts on the campers the governor wants to give to the homeless? Why are they not dealing with this issue? The FEMA's coming in. That's essentially what's happening. executive branch of our government has said they're coming. The California state now is accepting it, and we'll see how it works. Of course, the big problem is the resistance of the patients on the streets. People don't want to come into these things. And it'll be interesting to see how they deal with that, because that's the problem. The problem is you can't touch people, you can't move them into treatment, you can't do anything to get them to the care, and that is our single biggest problem. We have billions of dollars on the sidelines. We have millions of footage of space to put people. We can't get them there. And that'll be interesting to see how they do that.
Talk about Sacramento.
So I'm going to Sacramento next Monday to tour the city and look at their homeless issue. Then I'm giving a talk Tuesday morning. Susan, do you have the address for that?
Well, the tickets are sold out, apparently.
I think. Is it sold out?
I'm sorry. But you can go to drdrew.com and see all the details. So if you want to just hear more about it, or maybe where are you going to go downtown? Maybe people can go downtown.
I don't know. I'm being toured around on what's going on down there, so we'll see. Born Superman has an interesting idea. Like, we should have a hot topic when we do these daily doses. He said, "What's today's hot topics?" That's kind of a good idea. What do you think?
Well, you're just going by what people wanted to know.
I think that's a good idea.
We should get topics. Sure, we can get callers. I mean,
We could do callers?
You're going to have to make me work for it, aren't you?
Well, you should. Just saying.
Well, if you can just find a friend that wants to call in on Skype, you can have a little conversation about whatever.
Fair enough.
But right now, it's just all about the questions.
Yeah, you guys are going into the homeless stuff a bit here.
That's okay. That's your favorite topic.
So 7-story apartments. Is there anything I would have done? No. I know Brody Stevens. Is there anything we would have done different for him? Well, obviously at the end there, I don't know what was going on, but something went haywire in his management. He was a bit resistant, I got to say. Garcetti, 7-story apartments to homeless in near residential areas in the valleys. We have to do something. You're saying about the location you're not happy with. I understand that, but we've got to do something. And we're all going to have to share in that responsibility. Here come the dogs back in.
That was perfect timing, Rex.
Yeah, now you hear him breathing like a freight train. Can I speak to the genetic component of addiction versus learned behavior? All right. Addiction is you have to have the gene for addiction in order to develop the addictive disease. All right. This is going to be a little primer here. I treated 10,000 addicts in my career. I can only think of maybe 5 where I couldn't see a direct family history. There was always a family history of addiction. Always, always, always. Now, you can get dependency without addiction. That is to say, you can have tolerance and withdrawal, and you can need more over time, and you can kind of look like an addict. But that person, particularly with opiates or benzodiazepines, when they stop the substance, will not look back, will not be interested in doing it anymore. An addict always goes back. There's a disturbance of the brain's motivational systems. We know the part of the nucleus accumbens, the ventral tegmental cells moving into the nucleus accumbens, firing off, that causes this genetic change in the genetically prone individuals, where they're now, all their priorities remain focused on the substance rather than the usual priorities: survival, eating, reproducing, taking care of your family, that kind of thing, working. All those shrink, one priority emerges, and the way the brain manifests that is through disturbed thinking. You start thinking it's a good idea to be around certain people, to go to certain places, to engage in certain behaviors. That's the disease. It's the motivational system pushing that prioritization, that thinking. You're asking about the DRD2 mutation. The DRD2 mutation is part of the story. There's been other things implicated, including the LL allele of the serotonin transporter and a single amino acid substitution of the GABA A receptor, a proline serine substitution. If you have both those, you get a 100% probability of developing alcoholism, no matter the environment in which you're raised. So there's a lot of very powerful genetic components that set it up. If you have a mild genetic burden, right, there are probably multiple genes responsible for this thing. You may live your whole life and control it, but if you have trauma, that's what seems to put the rocket fuel into it. So you start using them kind of heavily when you're young to manage that trauma, and that's when things really take off. That's when you need to see me. Let me get, you guys have been scrolling along here. All right, there are lots of
many good questions. Sorry, I didn't have my mic on.
Besides the obvious clues, are the ways to differentiate between OCD and addictive traits. OCD and addiction are very different, very, very different. You just can look in the DSM-5 and see the differences. Again, I keep talking about the last few days. I've been talking about that great resource, the International Obsessive Compulsive Disorder Federation, IOCDF.org. Let's see. Okay, let me try to scroll through some of your stuff here. We don't have commercially available genetic testing yet for alcoholism, but if you have a first-degree relative with alcoholism, you have about a 50% probability of inheriting that genetic potential. Not 100%, about a 50%, whether it's one or both parents, by the way.
Read the question.
What question?
Whatever. There's one there. My brother got shot 2 years ago.
Wait, hold on.
Are you at that? It's at the
No,
bottom.
I'm not there yet. Hold on a second.
Oh, he's working his way down.
Yes. My brother got shot 2 years ago. Some nerve damage. A neurologist prescribed him Ultram, clonazepam, gabapentin, and something else.
That's a lot.
Benzo opiate
Guess
sounds like a bad idea to me. I totally agree with you. The Ultram is a weak opiate, though, and if he's on a low dose of clonazepam, that probably is an okay combination. Ultram in a non-addict is pretty safe. You'd want to get rid of the clonazepam if you can. Gabapentin is excellent. You can stay on that in high doses indefinitely. Why do they limit the HPV vaccine to age 45? Because that's the research they've done. An enlightened physician will give you the vaccine beyond 45 if he or she feels you need it, but they have to create certain treatment windows in order to get these things through the FDA. And originally there was a much narrower window even, and they've recently just expanded it to 45.
Oops, sorry.
Uh-oh.
That's my phone.
Is mental illness hereditary? Certain ones are, and proclivities are, for sure. Your thoughts on psilocybin for PTSD and addiction treatment? Jacqueline, we did a 2 hours on that on Sunday. Is that up as a podcast yet?
It's not up as a podcast, but you can find it on YouTube, Twitter, Periscope, Twitch, and Mixer in video form. Or just go to drdrew.com and find the live feed there.
And
you'll see a picture of Paulina and Duncan Trussell. It's the Truth About Ayahuasca and Psilocybin.
Right.
On January 12th.
And Intervention All. Susan, I'm going to traumatize Intervention All right now, apparently.
What?
I'm going to traumatize somebody whose screen name is Intervention All.
Oh.
He says, if you don't run for Congress, I'm going to experience excessive trauma. So I'm not running for Congress. Sorry about that.
Everybody hates Schiff so much. I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
I mean, we can't. I mean, it's just not the time. Maybe
right
in
for
a
me.
couple of years, But I know.
But I do feel morally moved by what a catastrophe is Southern California is.
I'm morally moved. I'm really moved by all the support that we've had in our emails. Everybody wants to donate money, which makes me feel better, because if you were to run, I would have to help you raise the money.
You don't want to ask all your friends, which
it's nice. I mean, I've had panels of people that are inviting us to dinner so they can give us money, and I was like, wow, we can't pay you to show up, but we want to contribute to your campaign. I'm like, what?
It's crazy.
And
by the way, the whole purpose of that article is to point out that I do not intend to do this, and yet people here running. It's people hear what they want to hear.
You wouldn't see Drew ever again. Like, we'd just be,
stuck in Washington.
Stuck behind closed doors somewhere.
Kelly Shoker, this is a great compliment. When people say this, I love it. She says, your show, Celebrity Rehab, honestly helped me so much to get sober. I binge watch every season. That's a very high compliment, and I appreciate that. Congratulations on your sobriety.
Drew was actually thinking about governor, and we talked to some people about it.
We've talked about a lot of different things because we're just so distressed with what's going on in California, but it's not now. Not now. We'll see.
You have a bigger platform. We did get one email say, do not run for Congress. You have a bigger platform. There's better things you can do, and I have a few ideas for you. So
okay,
there are ways to get the word out and continue to fight with the public, I guess.
We'll see.
I hope.
G-State forever. My thoughts on the flu shot. Get it. I give it to my family every year. Give it to hundreds of patients, thousands of patients. There's no reason not to, unless you're allergic to it. And I did have one out of the many tens of thousands of flu shots I've administered. I had one adverse reaction, and it was in Mike Catherwood. Ugh.
What happened?
His face swelled up. He had an allergic reaction. Only adverse effect I saw from this thing.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah.
So, did he ever?
You
take
didn't know
it
about that?
again?
Oh, it was so distressing.
He never took it again.
No, he can't take it again. He's not to take it.
How
No.
crazy. Well, I bet it happens to other people sometimes.
It's very, like I said, I've given tens of thousands
I've
of shots
had one every year. I'm fine.
Yeah, right. Likewise.
It's been great because, you know.
But
I
Mike
haven't
is
had the flu.
weird that way. He's allergic to a lot of stuff. So,
Well,
thank you, Carolyn, about health educator and substance prevention. Chronic alcoholic brother, he shakes without a drink, right? That's his withdrawal syndrome. You know, the withdrawal syndromes associated with alcohol are shits, shakes, and seizures. You know, and it's, and if you really have a second medical problem on top of that, you can get true delirium tremens, which is a life-threatening process.
so clinical. Shit, shakes, and seizures.
Shits, shakes, and fits.
Oh, and fits.
We have the opportunity to speak to a doctor. Yes, you can speak to me.
Okay.
You're so sick and you got the flu shot. Well, then you're sick with something other than the flu, in all probability. You're covered pretty much against the flu. You have some other virus. It doesn't cover all viruses. Both the producer and I had terrible viruses last 2 weeks. Bronchitis
It
been
probably
really bad.
would have been the flu if we didn't have the flu shot. It felt like
No,
it was,
the flu is a different organism.
It felt like
It's-
it,
you
though.
can't go from an upper respiratory
I was, like,
infection to the
sweating, my
flu.
ears
Those
were
are one's an
burning,
adenovirus, one's an influenza virus.
it
They
was
are
awful.
entirely different organisms.
There's
So
bugs going around. They're nasty.
thank you for listening to me. Who are you terrified of there?
I've heard you a million times.
Barbara?
I live with you.
And yet you can still talk about something going into the flu as though something
I
can
know. It
transform
felt like
into the flu.
It felt like it could have been the flu. That's all I said. Here, talk about your show on Sunday.
Okay, so on Sunday again, we're going to have my buddy Leanne Tweeden in here. She was a big part of the Me Too movement. She and I had a radio show at KBC for a year. And we're going to come in and we're going to talk. Are we going to get Mr. The presidential candidate in here?
Nope.
No.
I don't.
Bloop.
I have Leanne coming.
We have
on
Leanne coming.
Sunday.
We're trying to get other special guests.
Yeah,
so we'll look for
we're
that.
working on it. That it's just I'm lucky to have the banner with Leanne's face on it today.
And
Look at that, everybody! Isn't it great?
Susan, why don't you introduce yourself again? Because people are like, who's that voice? Is that your wife?
I'm Susan Pinsky.
Right, and
I'm
she's the
married
producer.
to Drew, and I'm in kind of a feisty mood today.
Why is that?
I don't know. I've just been kind of busy, and you're a little pushy. So
I'm a little pushy.
yeah, a little bit.
I've been away all day. Why are you putting that on me? That's
I'm
called
here
a
with my marketing.
that is
guy.
a projection, my dear.
No.
Uh,
I'm a busy
yeah,
person.
Wilbur says he has natural immunity and no flu.
I did
Here's the
get
deal:
my
it
nails
doesn't
done
work
today.
like that because
If
the
anybody
flu
cares.
changes. That's how the flu is trying to survive. The flu survives with us as the host, and it only survives by changing every year to get around your immune system. That's how it works. So to say that, oh no, I exposed myself to the flu, yeah, that's good for this year. That's it. The next year it changes again. So that's why we try to predict those changes with the vaccines, and we don't never hit it 100%. That's why it's not 100% effective.
Like me
Oh, look at
calling
you, Susan. You're so beautiful and smart.
I know.
Look at that. Look at that. And modest, too.
No, thank you. I appreciate it. I do. Who said that?
Shauna.
Oh, thank you, Shauna.
All right, you guys are slowing down with your questions. So,
I know because I've embarrassed you.
Oh, no, I'm not embarrassed. You have to work a little harder than to do that.
We've only done 19 minutes. I'm surprised. What else do you want to talk about, Drew?
Well, I like to talk about the questions that you guys ask on the scroll. I'm watching it here on Restream, so I see all the different platforms. Literally all of my family and friends are addicts, and I am not. I cannot help but feel the last person alive at the end of a horror movie. Yeah. Buffalo Bill. Buffalo Bill, what's your genetic background ethnically? Because sometimes if literally everybody is addict, there are certain subpopulations that really have a higher potential of transmitting the genes of addiction than the usual 50%. It gets up towards 80, 90%. Thoughts on idiopathic hypersomnia. How is that different than narcolepsy? Idiopathic hypersomnia means just wanting to sleep a lot for no apparent reason. I'd be interested to know that.
I learned so much on this show. So what is, remind me what kratom is. Somebody said kratom.
Kratom is an over-the-counter substance you can get. It's a weak opiate. If you remember, we had the Bell Brothers in here. Yeah.
Where can you get it?
Head shops, things like that.
Oh.
And it's an opiate, and so should be managed accordingly. It has all the same risks, though because it's weak, it's not as bad.
But is it like a painkiller?
Yeah, can be.
Is that the stuff that Rude Jude used to snort?
Did he
or
was
was it
into a lot of.
ketamine?
I think he was doing ketamine.
I always get them mixed up. Now, what is ketamine exactly?
Ketamine is, if you remember, we did a whole thing on that on the Sunday show
Right.
with the
This would-
psychiatrist. It is essentially a dissociative anesthetic, but in low dose, it has some.
What's a dissociative anesthetic?
Meaning it makes you not very aware of your surroundings, less aware of your surroundings and your bodily states. It dissociates you, meaning you're sort of out of body, and it has some hallucinogenic, has weak psychedelic properties.
So, but what was it made for originally?
For anesthesia. It worked. We use it a lot in animals and use it in adolescents in emergency rooms.
Oh.
Yeah, they still use it. They use it for anesthesia.
Why? Oh, for anesthesia for adolescents.
Why adolescents?
No, only it's an anesthesia for adolescents.
Correct. It's used in emergency rooms
God,
primarily.
these words. I don't know how you say all these words so fast. My
Thoughts on TRT for men? I'm a fan of TRT generally. I think it's, again, as long as the target is restoring your baseline state. Going beyond that, risky. We don't know. And exactly what your baseline level should be, that's a hard number to come up with because we don't have exact parameters for that. So people fluctuate around in a very large range. Let's see. Why is adolescence funny?
No, the word I couldn't say it.
Oh, you couldn't say it. I see.
Sorry.
What is process addiction? The way to think about process addiction is you're involved with a process like gambling or porn or online whatever, chatting, or gaming. That's a process addiction. So it's different than a substance addiction, right? Got it. Have I had a sleep study done? I have not. How do I feel about Astros cheating?
Well,
I don't really know that story.
Study.
I've seen the headlines. I haven't seen it.
You had a sleep study last night. You snored at 3:00 in the morning,
That
and I heard it.
okay.
That's his sleep study.
Mac
one every night.
Mac D. Very curious on your thoughts. Are you I don't know what your thoughts. What do you want my thoughts on? On Leaving Neverland.
Oh boy.
Yeah. What I really liked about it more than anything was the Oprah special she did afterwards. I thought she nailed that. And it wasn't a conversation about were they lying, were they saying, is this truth, is it not? All she said was, if this is true, this is a perfect example of how this works. And she was absolutely right. That was for me, and I probably have not said this publicly. That was her finest hour, in terms of the programming she has done. That was perfection. She sat there with the guys that were in the Neverland documentary and the documentarian, and she just kept saying, "This happened to me," and she had other people there that had been groomed and abused, and they were just pointing out that these are the stories. This is how it goes. It's not somebody tackling you in the back alley. It's grooming.
Look at Peggy, first-time viewer. Great program. How often are you on?
Every day, Peggy. We're on.
Well, don't.
We're trying. We're trying.
Hopefully, we'll be more than once a week.
A great question asked by
Drew
what?
has to go to town on Monday and Tuesday. We're going to mention that again.
To Sacramento.
So we probably won't be here next Monday and Tuesday because he is.
We could do Monday morning.
No, you're going to go to
Let me look at that.
I'm
Hold
sorry.
on. You're sorry?
He's going to be the keynote 2020 State of Downtown.
In Sacramento.
Yes.
Definitely Tuesday I can't do unless we do it at night. And Monday morning we could do.
If we miss a day, you can go back and watch the ones you missed, or check out the Ask Dr. Drew show that you have missed on these platforms.
Right, it'll be up.
And we'll try to have a regular thing. Maybe we'll.
Excuse me.
God bless you.
That's left over from the stupid cold that we've had for
Maybe
weeks and weeks.
I should have done that.
Should have done what? Pushed on my mic?
No, put a picture up of you sneezing. Dr. Sneeze too.
Janet believes the victims. Generally, I think people, why would they lie about stuff like that? But I will tell you one thing. One thing you have to keep in mind whenever people tell us a story about something that happened to them, not saying believe them or not believe them, I'm saying memory is highly imperfect. We think about memory as some sort of screen rollback of what happened. No, memory. In fact, there are people that study not just memory, but eyewitness, for instance. And it turns out eyewitness is one of the least accurate, least reliable pieces of evidence you can have in things like a criminal trial. Do I believe in medicine for alcoholism? Some, certain medicines for certain people. Naltrexone, for instance, is useful for some people. Some people really respond to that.
Somebody said, so how's the workaholism going, Drew Pinsky?
Is he asking me or you?
And then it says, "Ook, Susan is savage." I love that. I'm controlling his destiny.
As always.
We're gonna try to set it up on your laptop so that
So I can do it from
it's just
traveling.
this just started and we're just having fun with it, and we'll keep coming back because you're kind of addicted to it.
No, I'm not addicted to it so much as I feel satisfied by it. It feels like an interesting thing to do and develop and see what comes up on these screens, and I want to give back the knowledge I have and use it.
Yeah, it's cool.
That's all.
I mean, it's nice for you.
Feels purposeful.
You miss radio. This is a good way to be in touch with people.
And then Rex sits here with us every time. He's
Joshua has a question about happiness and how to get there.
Yeah, that's a big topic. I think fundamentally, in terms of beginning that conversation, people have to decide what they mean by happiness. And I think in this country, we've completely lost track of even that. We don't even know what we want. And generally, there's two kinds of happiness. There's hedonic happiness and eudaimonic happiness. Hedonic happiness is the feel-good part or the euphoria part. The eudaimonic happiness is the more nourishing satisfaction part. Like what does it mean to lead a good life, which is usually a eudaimonic life, which is a life of purpose, a life of meaning, a life of giving back, as opposed to a life of extreme euphoria. Euphoria is a very unfulfilled. I mean, it's nice once in a while, but people jump. I think it was Schopenhauer. He said, "I jump from desire to satisfaction back to desire again," and that's the way hedonic happiness kind of is. And in fact, our immune system works better if we're in a eudaimonic life, and certainly our sense of our purpose and well-being is higher.
Thank you, everybody, for the hearts on Periscope. You're going to make us a super broadcaster if you give us lots and lots of hearts.
A super broadcaster?
Yeah, we're really close, too. I don't know what that means, but I'm aiming for it.
Grace is thanking us for being on... could they see Rex in the picture a minute ago? People are commenting on Rex.
Yeah, I put a picture of Rex up.
Yeah.
You want to see him again?
They like Rex.
Yeah, Rex. Well, he comes up in pants, but I have a picture. I'll put it up. There he is.
And
this was the other day.
And thanking us for being on the YouTube here more, which we'll continue to try to do.
Also, if you're on our YouTube channel, we need likes or whatever you do to bring our numbers up or follow us. That'd be great. We're trying to build that platform too, and this is all new, so I guess I'm supposed to plug it. And Facebook, like us on Facebook.
Somebody has a question about Robert Paul Champagne, who I think is upset with me. And Robert, I love you. I apologize if we've upset you, but you are loved by many. And the house tour is coming up soon. That's a video of my tour of his house where I wear some of his costumes. Yes.
Go to the Your Mom's House YouTube channel for that.
Is that where it is?
Okay. Yeah. Or just Google Robert Paul Champagne, Your Mom's House.
So Tiffany's asking a general question, is Xanax really that bad? No drug is that bad. They all have their liabilities, right? Xanax is an extremely effective drug for an acute anxiety or for acute phobias, things like that. But used over a long period of time, it causes tolerance and withdrawal and makes anxiety worse and can be really a big problem. What do I look for on YouTube to find us? This is somebody asking from Facebook. Ms. Pinsky,
if you wanted this particular show and all your shows is on youtube.com/Dr. Drew, and then we have some of the Your Mom's House videos there, but also all our podcasts and everything are on the Dr. Drew page. If you want to find Your Mom's House, just look up YMH YouTube, and you'll see Your Mom's House. You'll see Drew's shows. They have them all organized over there too. Or just go to drdrew.com, and you can click on the links from there to wherever.
You have to apply for the super broadcaster status. Somebody's telling us here.
Yeah, I know, but we don't have enough hearts yet. We're getting close though. We only needed 135,000 last time, and I think we're getting close.
Yeah. Opinion on human growth hormone for anti-aging, probably good, but I still am reserving judgment on that. I'm more in favor of testosterone replacement to restore normal testosterone levels as they sink as we age. I'm sort of in Joe Rogan's camp on that one. Susan says no to Monday morning.
Well, yeah, he's got to go out of town.
I want to do Monday morning.
We have not set up the travel channel yet, and we can try it. You can take your laptop with you when you get to the hotel or whatever, and you can play with it if you want. I'll just set it up for you.
Okay.
I mean, we can try this weekend. I don't know. We'll see.
How can you put someone into inpatient rehab when they can't sign themselves out? There's no such thing as can't sign themselves out. Anyone can leave treatment as they please. It's part of the problem. If you want to know the issue I've mentioned here before, which is that a big piece of mental health problems is something called anosognosia, which is a block in insight and the ability to know what's happening to them as a result of the illness. Only 10% of people with addiction get treatment for addiction. So now they've taken that 90% and looked at them very carefully, did interviews in them and questionnaires, and they've asked them, why don't you access treatment? 80% of the 90% say, why? What's the problem? I don't want treatment. Why would I want treatment? Denial. Denial is a feature of the disease. And it's so profound sometimes, it's literally a block in the ability to see what's happening, and that is anosognosia. That's what happens with bipolar disorder. That's what happens with schizophrenia, and that's why people end up in the streets and are unwilling to go to treatment. Mindfulness. Wait, I'm going through your stuff again.
So many people with problems.
I know. Well, these are bad problems. How different do you think growing up
not
today?
These guys, the people on the street.
How different do you think growing up today is as a young man as opposed to when I was younger? Ooh, Susan, I want your thoughts on this.
Wait, what was it again?
Asking how is it different for young people today than when we were younger? I would argue that things felt more fun back then. I would argue that
we had better interpersonal relationships with each other.
Did we?
Had to go out and get.
I don't know.
A significant other.
There was more dating type stuff.
Yeah.
I don't think women were treated particularly well. I think that the
a lot of sexual harassment.
People are marginalized, and women things weren't so good.
Yeah, it's better for women.
Yeah.
Women
Here's a Vivitrol success story. Somebody was asking about medication for alcoholism. Vivitrol is one of those medications. That's naltrexone, and it worked very, very well. In fact, we did a podcast on that, Susan. Remember that one?
Which one?
It was on This Life You Live with Bob, and we had the whole naltrexone team in here talking about.
Oh yeah, that was a good one. Just I think what was that woman's name that was on the show?
Peggy says things were safer. I don't know if things were safer. I don't know that that's true, but it seemed just a little more.
We had less news about it.
Yeah, there was less outrage, less misery. People seemed a little more sort of. Inspired and upbeat and hopeful. And there seems to be a lot of anxiety and dread these days. And things are pretty good in the world, really, when you really get down to it. I mean, I would refer you to the material of, now I'm going to forget his name. You guys are going to help me on this. The guy that wrote Better Angels of Our Nature, Steven Pinker. Read his stuff about statistically how much better things are getting in the world. Even though it feels like it's not because we're inundated with all this garbage every day through our phones, I really do believe that we will look at screens the way we look at tobacco now. I really do. Okay.
Yeah, if you want to learn more about some of the drugs and the cures for or help for addiction, go to This Life #YouLive, and you can find a lot of topics on there that we've talked to
a lot of addiction topics. Yeah, we did a lot of shows on that.
Trying to find, I can't remember the woman's name, but she was a soap opera actress who.
Right, Raphael. Thank you on Pinker. I got it just before you prompted me there. I appreciate it. All right, we've done a good 30 minutes or so here. Yes, everybody.
I wish I could pull that out of my mind.
Yeah, well, we can just people can find it. It's where do you go on Dr.com to find something like that?
Well, we have a player for each of our podcasts. So if you go to the particular podcast and push player,
do they have to like look through a list of shows?
Just scrolls down, or you can just go on iTunes. You can find it on iTunes, and you can see it a lot easier. Or you can, I don't know. That's a tough one because that was a while ago. That was like a couple of years ago. But we have a lot of topics in that show. A lot. But we may have Bob back soon.
Yeah, I miss Bob. I haven't seen him in a while. It'd be good to have him back here.
Yeah, he could answer a lot of questions. He could be on this one.
He could be on this thing too. And by the way, suggestions at drdrew.com/contact. People you'd like to see on this show or the other shows. We are reading your.
Maybe we should just do a show just like this. Just turn it on the camera and do This Life.
Oh, with Bob? Yeah, I absolutely agree with that. I completely agree. Look how fast it goes just
answer
with me here.
Yeah, it's more laid back. He was a little threatened with the big studio.
Not actually, Saul. You say you're begging me. I don't know what you're begging me to do. Please tell me again. I'll look at it. Claudia Christensen.
There you go, Claudia. Yeah. Thank you. Who found that?
Rick Green. Well done.
So Was it easy to find?
I don't know if he's remembers that episode or he found it, whatever. Claudia Christensen.
Okay, it
We
was
had
referring
the
Brady with
Biocore naltrexone implant guys.
Biocore.
Yeah.
Yes.
Um,
What do you know? What episode it was, Rick? Did you find it? I'm running a board here. I can't. I mean, I could Google it, I guess.
they want Christina P in here. She would be funny. She would be good. We should work on that.
She could call in.
Yeah, have her go zoom in or something. She'd be really good.
But she wouldn't be able to see all these questions.
Could we do a call-in show with her?
Let's just have her on Ask Dr. Drew.
Okay, I think that'd be good. All right, we've done our thing.
Tell them about Ask Dr. Drew.
Ask Dr. Drew is Sundays, 3 o'clock. We sometimes do a bonus show afterwards, 3 o'clock Pacific time. It's a call-in show. If you sign up at drdrew.tv, you get a blast, and you can be a part of it. It's a lot of fun.
And you can skip the line and text your question right now to 984-2-Dr. Drew. That's 237-3739. And you will be at the top of the list. So when you call in, we're talking about doing reading people's emails and also taking questions in a show on its own with you. So you'll get an email if you go to drdrew.tv.
Yep.
And you can call in. The show may not be streaming live, but we'll just be taking questions. And then we're going to also do the show with Leanne right after that.
And Miami B, you say don't go. Why? What do you want? You got another question? I won't go until Miami B tells me I can leave. She say don't go.
And, retweet us and show show this on Twitter to all your friends, because we'd love to have them listen in as well.
Oh, that texting thing does always work or doesn't always work? Miami's saying I think doesn't always work.
Well, try it again.
Try it, because maybe it's on our end. Maybe we're not.
And also you can put your email address in, and you'll get an email when it starts.
I don't think people understand exactly what you meant by the text.
Okay, so go to Dr. Drew or go to drdrew.tv.
Yeah.
And then sign up, and you'll be in an automatic email.
I'm going to look at it right now and see if it is.
It comes to my phone every time, so it works.
But I'm going to see if it looks intuitively obvious.
I mean, it might be working better now if you did it at the very beginning. Maybe there was.
It doesn't really tell. Yeah, there's an email. You can put email or phone number, and you submit that. Then you get an alert when the phone lines are open. That's different than texting your question, right, Susan?
Oh yeah, that's another. You can do that at drdrew.tv.
Okay, I'm looking at drdrew.tv now, and that's to get the alerts.
No, you go. Okay, so.
But I don't see where you get where you submit.
You text your question to 984.
Oh, that's what it is.
237-3739.
Okay, so the number at the top of the page is the number you can text your questions to, and then if you sign up, email or phone number, you get an alert when the phone lines are open.
Right. So
I think people are confusing the two things.
And try to consolidate your question to a couple of lines.
Yeah. Get to the question. Don't give me the story around the question. Just get to the question so I can maybe get back to you.
Yeah. If you write too much, then we'll make fun of you on the show.
Okay. Apparently Twitter gives notifications. Somebody is saying. T-Nuts 420.
Here's the line again. 984-2-Dr. Drew.
Okay.
And then you can also watch the show live when you get the notification at drdrew.tv. If you're not, you guys are all already on a platform.
Oh no, has a good suggestion, which is have daily topics like Monday addiction, Tuesday whatever.
Okay.
Interesting. I don't think we're there yet, but we need more ideas.
We can have
on
that. Monday mental health, Tuesday.
Taco Tuesday. Yeah.
How about I don't know. I can't think of something. But anyways.
All right. Listen, we're just hanging out. You guys are great.
Yeah, we did. If we have to put too much work into this, we're not going to be able to do the other shows. So.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Well, this one we like because we can just kind of throw the camera on and just be with you and answer questions.
If we get a sponsor and I can hire somebody to help me, that'd be.
Yes, that would be helpful.
Hey, you guys, can you help us get a sponsor?
Trauma Tuesday, Wendy says.
Trauma Tuesday. Oh, good one. I like that. Okay, Trauma Tuesday. So we have Monday mental health and Trauma Tuesday. That's pretty much the same.
All right, last questions. Pile in, and then I'm going to go. Ready? Here we go. Or comments. What about the ASAM website, Rick? Rick, what are you going for there? The ASAM website is good. I have no problem with that. But actually, I'm taking my course Friday for the Suboxone prescribing, so I'll be a Suboxone prescriber on Friday.
Thursday therapy. Maybe we'll get a therapist to call in.
Keep it fun so people don't burn out. I'm all for that. Work people with developmental disabilities. Was one of your thoughts on the best ways to advocate for the proper support when often state systems fail or are too slow? Oh, I wish I had a good answer for that. Our systems are so cumbersome and poor. We just our infrastructure, our bureaucracies are just so cumbersome.
We could do Friday fake news.
Thank you, Warrior Grandma. Friday, I don't know. The topics aren't they aren't getting me yet.
I don't know. I mean, you're not. If something happens in the news, obviously that's going to become a topic.
Okay, here's somebody sounds like a physician.
Suicide Friday.
Wants to know how do you talk to somebody with severe anxiety, new diagnosis of I guess genital herpes. It's not anxiety that I think that the patient has so much as fear and dread and shame, and feels as though they are now unwanted. There's so much stigma associated with that skin rash, and I think you have to really contextualize it for them, help them understand exactly what's going on, so they don't feel like they have some sort of dreaded illness. It really is all socially sanctioned. We're talking about a rash. Compared to HPV, which causes cancer, and no one has any problems with HPV. It's very strange. And there are also lots of support systems for him or her. Phimosis Friday.
What's a phimosis?
Phimosis is a narrowing of the foreskin that happens after repeated trauma to the foreskin.
Well, it's right before the weekend.
Spill the teen mom. I guess you mean stuff. I don't know what's going on with them yet. I'm going to see them in April, so I don't know what's going on now.
Well, it's pretty crazy, though, I think.
Why? What's happening?
Aren't those younger ones like just...
Oh, that's the young and pregnant. That's different.
Oh, my goodness.
My son just went to Mexico and did ibogaine to get off Suboxone. That is a complicated process. I cannot recommend going to Mexico to do it, though there are people in this country that do claim success with therapeutic use of the hallucinogens. Look at the Sunday show where we talk about it in great detail.
Somebody like
what's my phobia? Like Phobia Friday. Everyone talks thalidomide Thursday.
I think Fake News Friday.
How common is the foreskin thing? Exceedingly common. It's very, very, very common. Phimosis. Yeah, it's probably the most common foreskin abnormality. I don't think there's anything more common than that, other than just plain old tears. But the tears lead to the phimosis.
Word, everybody.
All right, we're going to wrap it up. We thank you guys for being a part of this, and we'll be here tomorrow afternoon sometime, all right?
If anybody wants to come produce for free, we'll be able to take your suggestions.
Tomorrow, let's look what tomorrow looks like.
Now, Drew has fun doing this. He loves talking to everybody.
Yeah, I like talking to you all, and I like trying to help and just spilling whatever I got.
Check out all our other shows on drdrew.com, and we'll be on Instagram and Twitter.
Don't forget the merch method, Tom Segura.
Yes.
Whoops.
Turn around, sweetness.
Thank you.
And just remember.
Or check out this show at least.
What about the other show?
Oh God.
Merchmethod.com.
This is the one
Tom Segura.
I am actively ashamed of, that everyone seems to like.
Words to live by.
Yes, thank you. I agree. I completely agree.
Okay, somebody's at the door. So,
right.
God bless you.
All right, guys. We'll see you. Goodbye. Thank you so much. See you tomorrow.